child. And that the level of evidence that is supported doesn't really support that there should be almost, in my opinion, a jury trial before a father is thrown out of a child's life because the mother uses her vindictive ability very easily to just sign off on a form and just say, I'm afraid for my children. And I believe that reform really needs to be made and that we must do more to protect the children of the Commonwealth and keep their relationship with both their parents, their mother and their father. I commend the governor for talking about youth violence. I think the family and probate courts contribute to that youth violence by taking fathers out of kids' lives. I was just happened to be watching a TV show last night on women in prison, and there were like 15 women being talked about and being scared straight so they didn't go into worse. And they asked every one of those young women, how many of you live with one parent? Every single one of them raised their hand. And I guarantee you, if you asked them how many of those women were being raised just by a mother, I guarantee you those same women would all raise their hand that they didn't have a father in their life. And it's due partially to what's happened in this state by the fact that we have thrown so many fathers out of kids' lives, that we don't do shared custody, that we have too many unnecessary restraining orders, and unfortunately not in your hands, changes on the federal level that have caused this explosion, where it used to be in the 1960s, 9% of children were raised without a father in the household. Today it's over 28%, over 20 million children, and 41% of all new births in this country to unwed mothers. It's, in my opinion, a recipe for disaster. And the other thing that I think has been a real problem in Massachusetts is the propensity to throw dead broke dads in jails. They call them deadbeat dads, but very often they are fathers. 90% of the statistics, according to most people who are in jail for inability to pay child support, is because they don't have the ability to pay child support. Recently, a gentleman named Randy Mills was thrown in jail. He lives in a trailer. He was thrown in jail for 3 months. He's still in danger of going to jail. His crime is that he's unemployed. Now, here in the Commonwealth, we're doing everything to save people's houses. We're giving people short sales. But if you're a father and you can't afford your child support, you go to jail. If you can't afford your mortgage, you can't afford your health insurance, you can't afford your credit card, they don't throw you in jail. If you can't afford your child support in Massachusetts, judges every single day are throwing fathers in jail. Now, I tried to find out from multiple agencies, including the Family and Probate Court, how many fathers are being thrown into jails in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Not a single one would be able to tell me that statistics. I contacted the jails, the head of the jails, I contacted the head of the probate court, and yet every single day our courts are wasting dollars. It costs $35,000 a year to house a prisoner. While we let out murderers, we're keeping dads in jails and we're keeping dads from kids. Randy Mills' kids were devastated that they couldn't see his father for 30 days. He's an unemployed HVAC repair person. And this is happening day in, day out, and nobody seems to care, and the courts don't seem to care. And if judges just say, well, you can't pay, you're going to jail, we'll teach you a lesson. So what they do is they force fathers to beg their friends and family to money because they don't want to go to jail. But some people don't have that liberty, don't have that money, and we're still throwing them into jails. And I don't know who that serves. It serves vindictive mothers, but I don't know who else it serves, because everybody else loses. I want to thank you all for your public service. I also want to talk about the fact that we talk about the best interest of the child, and I don't know how it can not be in the best interest of a child to keep a mother and a father involved in people's lives. The Supreme Court of the United States voted in Troxel versus Granville that both parents have a fundamental liberty interest in raising their kids, and I do not understand why in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts we do not follow the Supreme Court standard that both parents have a fundamental liberty interest. I do not understand how it is not in the child's best interest to be equally raised by both parent after separation and divorce, and why on earth we call parents visitors. After, all of a sudden you go from being a visitor to a parent. They say it takes a village to raise a kid. That village includes fathers. I mean, you're a father, you're a father. Many of you on this panel are fathers. And God forbid you find yourself in the position of being in front of the Family and Probate Court, because I'll tell you right now, they don't tell you ahead of time that temporary orders are really permanent orders. They don't educate you. The other problem with this system is this state does not do enough for pro se litigants, and they call it a pro se problem. It's not a pro se problem. It's the fact that people can't afford lawyers at $250 to $500 an hour. And I've been here before, and they say, well, you can always appeal your decision. What they don't tell you that to appeal your decision will cost you $25,000 to $30,000. If you don't have that money, you can't appeal your decision. So when judges make rulings, like she made rulings on move away, that took a father away from a kid, it has huge ramifications for a child the rest of their life. And these rulings are done in like 15 minutes. I've been before this court, and I've seen other people go before this court. I haven't seen this judge personally. But if we don't recognize today that there's not a problem, and if we don't start advocating that kids need dads too, this problem won't go away. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Hill. Thank you for your time and patience.
Thank you.
Adele Simons. And Mr. Cronin is handing out a packet in relation to the